Hi everybody, welcome back to Critical Mass. Well, I said in our last review I wasn't going to watch Wonder Woman ever again, probably.
You're a liar. You're a liar.
I did lie. A lot of people were saying, come on, it was not that bad. It was a pretty good movie. And so we decided, you know what? We're going to give it a second chance. There's 10 categories. We're going to go over pros and cons of Wonder Woman 1984. And we tried to look at it with a fresh set of eyes going into it for a second time. Okay, well, our first category, Paul, what is it?
We got action, specifically combat action.
Combat action. After watching it again, I forgot about the White House scene. And in that scene, we first see Cheetah show up. She's not in Cheetah form, but she has Wonder Woman's strength. And we see Wonder Woman losing her strength. So I did like that scene. The action in that scene reminded me of the first Wonder Woman way more than anything else in the movie. So I like that scene now better than all the rest.
Okay, well, in our first review, you said you liked the truck scene. Okay?
Compared to the rest.
I thought the truck scene was a travesty.
Yeah.
The CGI of her running, it looked like she was suspended and they told her to move her legs and then they digitally moved her across the screen. I thought it looked very fake. There was a point where the bad guys, or the security team, whips out a big Gatling gun and they go to shoot and they shoot one bullet.
Yeah.
And she catches it with her lasso or something like that.
It goes behind her towards Steve, and she can turn around with her lasso, whip back, catch the bullet, shoot the bullet over there, and continue running. And then you see the guy in the machine gun going like this.
How
did she get the other 19 bullets?
How did she do all of that stuff before the second bullet of a Gatling gun comes out?
Yeah, with that, she didn't.
Or a machine gun, whatever
it is. Yeah. So, the CGI and then hopping over when the truck flips over and things like that, there was some pretty bad stuff. But the White House scene, while less CGI, it was much better. There was no comedy, crashing through things, and guys were flipping around on...
Okay, so to appease the people out there who say Wonder Woman is good, you're saying that that's a good action scene.
I liked that scene. I do like that scene after watching it again.
We got quality.
There you go. All right, next. What do we got?
Acting.
Okay. I said in my first one, Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot portrayed Wonder Woman. I still think she's Wonder Woman. I would not see anybody else in that role right now.
Now, granted, she is a very pretty lady.
But I mean, no, even her, when she's showing off her humanity, her love of mankind, when she's, her emotions and feeling, I still see that as a Wonder Woman character when she's doing it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I still believe that. I have no problem with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Okay. I liked Kristen Wiig after the transformation started. Mm-hmm. When she started gaining powers and she started getting darker and stronger, and she didn't want to lose all that. I started liking it wasn't Kristen Wiig at that point, it was Cheetah.
Now, nobody can do Kristen Wiig like Kristen Wiig.
No, she does the best Kristen Wiig of any Kristen Wiig out there.
So, at the beginning, before her transformation, she's really awkward, and it seems to take a long time. Like, you're wondering, how long is this awkwardness going to last? Yeah. But she does it really well.
Yeah, like I said, she does that well. It's just we see that in all of her comedies, and that's the problem. When you typecast a character as that's why I was glad to see when she made the transformation. I could see a difference. I could see the anger. I could see the hardness come across, and that's the part we were worried about with her.
Okay, how about Lily Espel, which is young Diana?
Young Diana, you were surprised? It's the same young Diana as Wonder Woman, and as we said in the first one, this was one of our favorite scenes. I like her as that character. I like her as young Diana. I believe she's young Diana.
I hope she's in the next Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I like this little girl, Lily. Good job. I was very happy when I first saw you in the movie. I said, that's the same girl, and I was happy about that. So yeah, great job by her.
So to balance those great points in this movie, let's go with the con, the acting of the bank robbers at the very beginning in the mall scene.
Yeah, well, we know what you were going for, Patty, with this. You were going for comedy, spoofy, campy 80s, like Batman TV show kind of thing looking. but it didn't work. This is a modern movie. You can't make your criminals that campy and that over the top. They made Home Alone thieves look like professional thieves from Ocean's 11.
Yeah, this was like even though they're supposed to be dumb criminals, the acting of the dumb was bad, I thought.
Yeah. Why are these guys so cornball? Right? They have to have some intelligence. And they didn't. And I see this from a lot of the background characters as well in the acting. A lot of guys in the background where, okay guys, here's your cue to run through the scene. And it's like they're running to nowhere. They're just running through the scene.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like they're in a hurry. They don't look like panicking. They don't look like anything.
I had the same criticism of scenes in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
If you ever look at background people in The Mandalorian doing things, they're poking things repeatedly as if that's doing something.
Yeah.
That's what it was like in Wonder Woman. They're told to do something, and it doesn't look realistic at all.
No, and there's a lot of that in the background. And there's a lot of background characters because of the panic they have in this situation. So yeah, pros and cons of acting.
Okay, so they were good and they were bad.
Wow.
Okay. Story consistency.
Well, there was none.
Well,
all right. Tell me a pro. Tell me a pro.
A pro would be the transformation of the cheetah character.
Okay. All right.
It might be a weak pro, but she starts off at awkward. She has these things she's missing in her life and these desires. She makes an appropriate wish. The transformation happens gradually so that she doesn't understand what's going on because like she didn't even know she made the wish. And she's gaining these powers, eventually coming to terms with, hey, I'm a new person. And at the end, she's the villain, I guess.
Yeah.
So I thought the transformation made sense.
Okay, I understand that, and I like the part. Well, I like the part where you could see awkward. Nobody pays attention to me. Getting the attention and wondering, hey, this is new for me and all that. Gaining her strength that she didn't know she was going to get. Surprise! I'm suddenly strong. And then she can stand up for herself, but she knows she's losing her humanity, her goodness, her joy. And so she beats up that one guy at one point, and had she not been stopped, she probably would have killed him. And at the end, when she realizes, even though she's helping Diana, when she realizes Diana wants to get rid of her power and what she has now, that's when she starts to turn evil.
She freaks out. I'm not giving up what I just got.
No, and so I'll give you that one. Okay. Now we got to go into the cons. At any point when the wishing stone is going on, you could interact and intertwine any of those scenes of giving the wishes and all those things, and it makes no difference to the story at all. The very first wish he grants, is to, and he says, I'm taking your oil and your company, and you're going to be in ruins. And then he walks out, he goes back to his office, and there's protesters and people running around and cops showing up at his front door. Why? Why is that happening already? No one knows he's the wishing stone. There's no history of this going on anywhere. So yeah, I did not like that point.
And according to the mall scene, nobody knew who Wonder Woman was.
Nope.
And then after they come out of the White House?
Yep, after the White House scene.
There's panic everywhere, and a cop says, I don't know where Wonder Woman is. Well, how do they know who Wonder Woman is now?
And as he's saying it, she's walking past him in full costume, by the way.
So if he knew who Wonder Woman was, why doesn't Batman know who Wonder Woman was?
Because in Justice League, especially.
Yeah. So that's a consistency that is inconsistent.
Yeah. There's a lot. Well, also the magic lasso that can now shoot out 10,000 feet and catch a plane flying by. Justice League happens after this, and that lasso does not do those magic twists that it does in this movie. So what changed?
Ran out of power.
Yeah, she didn't charge it enough with the USB port, I guess. All right. Yeah, this story was all over the place, and that's one of the problems. The biggest problem with the movie is that the plot goes everywhere all the time. There's a romance scene. There's the action scenes when they're looking for a lord. There's Lord and his son. There's the wishing stone. There's Cheetah, and it just doesn't work altogether. It's all around.
Okay, well, leading into that, let's talk about the pacing. Are there any pros about the pacing? Remember, there were people out here that called us names for not liking this movie as much as they did.
Yeah.
Okay? So they liked this movie, and the pacing was probably okay for them. What was good about it?
I thought the pacing of this movie was one of the worst I've ever seen, actually. especially in an action superhero film. It was way too long. Way too long for the story they were telling. This wasn't Endgame, where you had to have 53 different characters that you've had over 20 movies. This was Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor. And it just went on and on
It felt
and on.
It felt long, like when I was watching it, looking at my watch.
Yeah. And they threw in scenes that didn't need to be there, and that's ballooned it. Like, it just ballooned it all to pieces.
And what are some of those things?
Remember in the first Wonder Woman movie when you gotta blend in Diana when she first gets to England, so they go on a shopping thing. And there's a little montage of her trying on some costumes. But it made sense what they did, right? She goes up to a corset and she goes, is this what armor is in these days for women these days? And then she tries on a costume and she tries kicking it and says, how do you fight in this? And then she shows up and she's drop dead gorgeous, and no matter what she wears, and they put some glasses on her. And they even made fun of that, saying as if that changes her from being the most beautiful woman in the world you've ever seen. In this one, they reversed it and did Steve Trevor. And they just put on ridiculous costume after ridiculous costume, and just
because 80s
for the joke.
Yeah.
It didn't make it made no plot. It didn't advance the plot at all. You didn't need this scene, which is one of the reasons everything blows up. But are these parachute pants? Does everybody parachute now? And then ridiculous shirt after ridiculous pants after, look at my fanny pack. Ha ha ha, fanny packs are a thing.
But aside from the clothing, you had when they take off in the invisible jet and they're in the fireworks. And this took time.
Yeah, they even veer off to go look at the fireworks.
Like they're trying to save the day.
Yeah.
And they went off and flew in fireworks and looking up in beautiful colors, and like that took 5, 10, maybe not 10 minutes, but it took time.
It felt like it took 10 minutes.
Because it didn't make sense for the story.
No, and one quick more point on the clothing scene as an example of why it ballooned so much that it didn't need to be there. The very next scene you see them in, he's wearing the same outfit he wore when they found him. He has none of those clothes on. So it was completely useless.
Another one is I enjoyed the Olympic scene at the beginning that showed Diana's past. And the whole point of that scene was that young Diana cannot win the competition because she cheated. And then she's taught the lesson that you can't cheat. Your destiny awaits you. You don't have to rush it and cheat to get there. And something about, look at, what's her name, Illyria? Asteria? Okay. Well, none of that really comes into play with the main story because she doesn't cheat unless you consider wishing her love back.
And she didn't even do that. She just says, I know what I'd wish for.
And then the armor at the end that whatever, who?
Asteria.
Okay. The armor lasts about 3 seconds and really played no role in the entire film, so that was worthless. So that whole idea of the beginning times played no part of the story whatsoever.
Yeah, the only link is you can't cheat. Well, she, in her speech at the end, she says to give this up because there's no quick ways to getting things done, blah, blah, blah. And so you can't make $1 million just by wishing for it. You have to earn it. That's what she was trying to say in her speech. And that was the cheating. There's no cheating death. There's no cheating this. There's no that.
But it was very weak.
Very weak. Very, very weak. And if you took out the young Diana, Lily, love ya, that was great. If you took that whole scene out, it made no difference to the movie again whatsoever. Again, that is 10 minutes long. That is our opening scene. And bloat.
Let's talk about the pros and cons of plot.
The Wishing Stone. You kind of like the Wishing Stone idea.
Well,
for Cheetah.
I did not want to watch a Wonder Woman movie with a villain called Cheetah because it brought to mind the old Batman where there's a villain called Penguin and he was penguiny, and I think that's cringe. Now I know it makes sense for Batman comics and stuff like that. I just did not see how they're going to make an animal villain in a realistic superhero movie. And the stone, although it was fanciful, made sense.
For that character, it did.
I mean, whether they did it well, I don't know. But at least I could go along with she wished for it, and it transformed her from meek into the apex predator villain.
Okay. Now, as far as cons of the plot is concerned, the whole building up of the destruction of the world, it just wasn't done properly. Like, at no point did we know what was really going on. Suddenly, and you know what? I said this when I watched it. When he gets the stone And I'm going, well, he's going to wish for more wishes. That's what, if you're a genie says, hey, you get one wish, what is it? Everyone says, I would wish for more wishes. He wishes to become the stone. That's a risky wish.
Yeah,
Because what if he'd have just been a rock and,
Yeah.
he's sitting on the desk when the janitor comes in and he's tossed in the trash. But, okay, but now suddenly he knows that he can take things from people and he can control the wishes. And at the end, when everyone, I renounce my wishes, that makes no sense neither. Like, the whole plot with the stone just wasn't built properly. It wasn't, they didn't show enough to make us think that the world is, this is why the world's in danger. They just made him, I'm just going to keep giving wishes and the world's going to go to hell and I don't care.
There's a part where the president wishes for nuclear missiles, more nuclear missiles than Russia. And then suddenly there's a nuclear war and missiles are flying through the air. But when the wishes are renounced, you see the missiles blow up. But are the missiles only the missiles that were wished for? Or did they fire some missiles that were pre-existing?
Yeah, which they did, because you saw the entire board of the United States all green, lit up as if they were firing.
So those missiles that existed before all this wish stuff happened, those would still be flying into Russia.
You would think, unless somebody wished them away or something. I don't know. That's the problem with this whole wishing plot point. It's just all over the place. And yet, so when he goes to the president of the United States, he's all worried and he's concerned. The president's concerned because Russia is on the verge of launching nuclear missiles at us. And he wishes, I wish we had more missiles than they do and closer. Instead of saying, I wish Russia had no nuclear missiles. And the threat of the violence would have been over, not escalating. Like, that's the problem with the plot. It has to assume that everybody is an idiot who wishes for things and they are only selfish. Every person in the world is selfish. No one wished for their grandmother to be not have cancer anymore. All those kind of things. It's always, I wish you were dead. I wish I had $1 million. I wish we had nuclear weapons like that country does.
And the whole world is in panic and coming to an end, and nobody had wished for world peace.
Yeah, not one person wished for world peace as missiles were launching from your country.
Okay, we got to get a move on because this is a long video.
It's going.
So CGI, pros and cons.
Go for it. Pro.
We looked real hard for a pro, and the only one we can come up with was the wall. Now, when I first saw this movie, I thought I saw the wall being built and raised up.
It was just there.
But the only thing I can say is it looked good when it was coming down. That's all I can say for pro.
And the stone. You liked when the stone disappeared.
Okay, he's holding the stone, he wishes to become the stone, and it disintegrates. It looked real.
That's the best part of the CGI. That's pretty pitiful in an action movie. Because the ending scene with Cheetah, not well done. Very blurry, very nothing to see. The slow motion running, like this, very poorly done. The flying, not great. And don't forget, she brought on her own special effects team for this movie. Patty was in control of everything. So she not only wrote the film, she brought in her own special effects team and got rid of Zack Snyder's team. She didn't bring them back, who did work on Wonder Woman 1. So it's all on her. Writing, plot, special effects, directing. It's all Patty.
Okay, sound. We have one that is a pro and a con at the same time.
Yeah, because I thought I didn't remember ever hearing that from Wonder Woman, that big thrilling soundtrack you heard from the first one.
When she's running into no man's land.
Yeah, or the first fight in, when she's beating up the guards inside the tower that she jumps in when she's saving the village. None of that. Well, there's a 5-second sound clip of that in one scene at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's it.
When she shows up with her armor, you can hear it, and it's gone. As suddenly as it appears, it's gone. But it's there.
It's there for 5 seconds, and then all of a sudden it's just her standing there looking like this with Cheetah looking down on her like this, and we're going back to the...
Yeah. But the score when the storm is happening around Lord at the end when he's granting world wishes...
Picks up.
It's intense. It's all right. But I can't say that it was fabulous through the whole movie.
No,
nothing memorable.
No, I would not go and buy this soundtrack.
No.
Let's put it that way. And if I heard parts of this soundtrack on the radio or in a TV off screen, I would not know it's Wonder Woman.
No.
So that's a problem.
Okay, so quickly ending.
The ending, we kind of hit on it already before. Everybody has to renounce their wish. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Is this a pro or a con?
This is a con. This is an absolute con.
Okay, con.
Like, everybody gave up their wishes. And it was all done by a big speech at the end by her lasso going into the light beam out there, and suddenly they can hear it all over the world, and they're hearing her.
Like,
and
she's talking very quietly, and the only reason the rest of the world can hear her is because her lasso is touching the equipment.
yeah, and you know, in the first Wonder Woman, there's that little speech at the end too, where she's all of a sudden she stands up and she realizes she's the God Killer, and she starts walking towards Ares, and he says, "I believe in love." Like, she has a little speech like that. He shoots bolts at her, she catches it, and she realizes, hey, I can control lightning. She didn't know she could do that. And then she flies up in the sky and she beams down, and there's a big action scene. In this one, she talks for like 3 minutes
About the power of love.
about the power of love, and she gotta renounce your wish. Save everybody. And all of a sudden, things just start disappearing. That's the end. There's no action. It just stops. Missiles are disappearing on the screen. Walls are going down. People are coming back to life. Cows are disappearing on the grounds. Like, it's...
Okay, pro.
Go for it.
Okay, pro, I thought at the end, I was unsure what was happening with Cheetah.
Okay.
And I like Cheetah as a character, and I like Kristen Wiig as the actress. We never actually see her renounce her wish. And I don't know if just because Lord renounced his wish that everybody's wish is nullified. So
I believe everybody has to renounce their own wish.
her makeup is gone. She's back in her
Regular costume.
regular clothes.
Yeah.
But she still kind of looks Cheetah to me.
Yeah. And, okay, well, we'll talk about this in another section. We'll talk about Cheetah again in another section. But yeah, it left us asking questions on, well, how can she still have cheetah powers later on if she comes back in another movie or whatever like that, because she renounced her wish, or did she renounce her wish? So I like the fact that we're asking questions about what happened. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But the actual plot ending story?
No, the resolution was
Horrible.
crap.
Horrible.
Before we get into future pros and cons, let's
Okay.
talk about just elements of cringe or just random things that are
Okay.
huge no-nos that they shouldn't have done.
All right, I did mention this before. Chris Pine's fish out of water expression on his face. I can understand it the first time, a little bit less the second time, a little bit less the third, but there's 19 times in this movie where he's... No, it's just, it looks like he's a little boy, and I understand, he's supposed to be a fish out of water, innocence in this time. He's a war hero from World War I and a spy, and he couldn't figure out an escalator.
And he was scared on the escalator.
He was scared on an escalator. My 3-year-old granddaughter can figure out an escalator, but a World War I spy
He
pilot.
infiltrated a German compound and escaped.
Yeah.
And he was scared of an escalator.
An escalator, and he'd, like every scene, and it got annoying at the end. It just, no.
Something that many commenters brought up is that Chris Pine does not appear in the modern times. He assumes somebody's life.
Somebody else's body.
So you're wondering many things. You're wondering, okay, so is that guy dead now? And is that okay with Wonder Woman? Is it okay with Wonder Woman that she's sleeping with some guy without getting his consent?
Because if you role reverse that, we have some big issues, right?
So, honestly, like, I can say that this never occurred to me when I'm watching. But now that people are bringing it up, I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, so much so of wondering what's happening is because we can see the reflection in the mirror, and he's looking at the other guy. Handsome man, by the way, is what he's called, handsome man. He's looking at the other guy. So is that guy trapped in the body too, looking out, unable to control his body anymore?
Well, probably not, because he didn't seem to have any memory of her at the end.
A lot of people are saying, well, you know what, making love with Gal Gadot, is it really that big a thing? And yeah, it is. Because the big thing is, if you role reverse that, it's now a man forcing a woman's body and using it, and the other person knows about it. Also that, Chris Pine, Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman don't seem to care that something happened to a guy that was living in the apartment since he came back. They don't care he's gone. They don't care he's dead. It's okay, we got what we want. Mm-hmm. That's not Wonder Woman.
That's
she doesn't
not hero.
even thought of it. And Wonder Woman's character is all about emotion and feeling and caring. and she did not care.
Okay, we're not Angry Joe, so we got to cut this down.
Okay.
Let's do the pros and cons of the future.
All right.
Now that we've seen Wonder Woman 2 and seen the outcome of Wonder Woman 2, what are the good things and the bad things that have come out of this?
Okay. Well, as many of you already know, probably, Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot have both been signed on to do Wonder Woman 3 again. To me, the pro is Gal Gadot's back.
Without Gal Gadot, this is done.
This is not Wonder Woman. You better reboot the whole thing. Maybe a young Diana story would be good. But yeah, so Gal Gadot's coming back. I think that's great. Perfect. A little worried that Patty Jenkins may not learn from her mistakes.
It appears that in Wonder Woman 2, she was a one-person show.
She was. She took over everything. She has written one other movie, Monster, with Charlize Theron.
Best Picture winner.
Best Picture winner. Great movie.
think.
But it's a drama. A very low-budget drama movie. Filled with emotion and filled with, heartbreak and things like that. This is an action hero story. And this one was bad, story-wise. Like, story is a problem. Pacing is a problem in this movie. And so I hope she learns from this, because she wanted to do everything herself. And she was even kind of boasting about, that she was able to do everything, and the studio didn't interfere like they interfered in Wonder Woman with the ending.
I think one of the things that Patty Jenkins was missing in this movie was style. There was no individual style that sets this part apart from other generic action or superhero movies.
Other than long and boring.
If that's the style.
And I like her cinematography. Like, I like her angling of the cameras and the brightness of the films. I like all that stuff. Her directing is fine, but maybe she should not be the writer for an action film. And I just hope she learns that. And is not one of those people like Rian Johnson who will stand up and defend. And, when he did The Last Jedi, and people said, hey, this really isn't a good thing for your trilogy. This really isn't a good story to fit in a trilogy. He just said, you're man babies, you're this, I'm doing my story, the heck with you. I hope Patty Jenkins doesn't do that. And so far, she hasn't really said anything.
I think one of the other good things that come out of this is an understanding that superhero movies have evolved.
Yeah.
We now have a style of superhero movie that is more grounded in modern day, is grittier. Even Marvel movies seemed more down to earth and grittier than this movie. And they're popcorn movies.
They're popcorn.
But I didn't like the campy beginning. I don't care about the lasso. I don't care about the invisible jet. I want a good story. Joker made over $1 billion, and it was just no gimmick.
No.
It was just him doing life.
Yeah. Like, they put the Wonder Woman's plane in this, and all people think are talking about the Wonder Woman plane is, that plane how did they get into the plane? How does he know how to fly the plane? How does the plane go from US to Cairo and back on a single tank of gas? It's a fighter plane. They're complaining about it because he just threw it in for no reason. Everyone's talking about the lasso. Hey, the lasso can split in two now for some reason, and it can shoot and catch an airplane at 10,000 feet flying. Since when can they do that? It's gimmicky.
Like, everything was too fluffy.
Yeah.
Take any line delivered by Thanos,
Yeah.
and it had more gravitas and meaning and intensity than anything you saw in this entire movie.
Yeah. And Wonder Woman's famous boom defense, where she sends out a force around her. She uses it once in this movie, and Cheetah goes right through it. But the lasso is used in every second of this film, and they got rid of the sword and shield, and I think that might be a mistake, because now they're gimmicking the lasso. And so I'm tired of that. Wonder Woman's good enough. Wonder Woman is a great character. You don't need gimmicks.
So the pro is that coming out of this movie, I think they've seen the backlash, and they have no choice. If they're going to do Wonder Woman 3, they have no choice but to learn from this.
Yeah. And by the way, just because Patty Jenkins is signed on doesn't mean she's actually going to do the film. Because I remember a certain director named Rian Johnson who was given a Star Wars trilogy. I haven't seen that being made anytime soon, neither. So we'll see what the actual numbers are at the box office, and we'll see if she's going to go. And I just hope she learns, because I like Patty Jenkins. I liked her in interviews. I like her as a director. So yeah, I would like to see her come back, but I want her to do it the right way.
So was this entire movie a trash fire? Lots of it was.
Yeah.
But there were many, many good things about this movie that appealed to a lot of different people.
Yes. Us personally, I did not enjoy this movie more the second time than the first time. And it's not one. I will watch Wonder Woman 1 probably many more times before I'll ever watch this again, unfortunately. And that's as a Wonder Woman character lover. I like the character, and I like Gal Gadot so much as the role, which is why this is so disappointing. Well, there you go. That's our review. Some pros and cons, 10 of them as a matter of fact. And let us know what you guys think down below. As you let it sink in, are you going to rent it again at some point? Are you going to buy it when it comes out? Or is it a one and done, like a lot of people saying? Let us know in the comments down below. Please don't yell at us just because we didn't like the movie. We don't like a lot of movies.
I gave it a 6/7.
I gave it a 6, and people thought I was very generous, as a matter of fact, in some of the comments. And I have to admit, I might have been a little generous too. Well, hope you appreciate the video. Wonder Woman 84, let us know what you think. And until next time, we'll see you on the channel.